You go out there to learn how to survive. If I can hold on, break their posture, give them something, anything to think about before they choke me out and I have to tap.
The culinary world woke up to shocking news. The suicide death of Anthony Bourdain, discovered by his best friend, Eric Ripert, in a France hotel room. Death by hanging, they're saying. Not only the culinary world, but Rita, the entire world is in shock.
The whole
You
culinary
interviewed
world.
this man dozens of times as our food writer at the Toronto Sun and Post Media. What do you think? Are you shocked by this news?
I'm angry. I'm shocked and angry. What a waste. And he was an incredibly talented man. He had so much passion. There was a dark side to him. I think you just had to meet him once to recognize that. And that was his form of protection from everyone, I suspect. But still, this is so shocking.
Do you, I mean, in recent months and years, he seemed like a happy man. He had Parts Unknown. People loved that show. He had a girlfriend, Asia Argento.
He did.
You never know what's going on in someone's head, I guess.
You never know. I mean, you see people on the streets every day and you don't know what kind of torture they're going through. And Anthony Bourdain, there was a dark side to him, of course, because he had his own demons. And he wrote about them quite eloquently. But he was just an incredible... He was bigger than life. That's how I saw him. He was an incredible raconteur. He loved his, it's funny, we had a discussion after his divorce from his second wife, and he says, I'm living for my daughter. My daughter is the most precious thing to me. I don't care about anything else. And I find those words haunting today.
When you say his demons, let's be specific, he was a heroin addict.
He was a heroin
cocaine addict in his bad boys days in New York City, but now he was a dad. So
he was a dad.
To
he was
a teenage
taking care
daughter.
Of himself. He stopped smoking the moment he found out that he was going to be a dad. He started working out. He watched what he ate. He was very, very careful about himself. I remember him telling me he's a type A personality, and everything had to have a place in his life. And like all brilliant people, I really think people like him come around once every 100 years. He's sort of like the Beatles in that way,
Well, certainly Keith Richards.
Certainly Keith Richards. He had that
an eerie coincidence, or maybe not, he predicted his death in a People magazine interview only a month ago, Rita. Should we make anything of this? Are we making too much of it?
I think we should look into it. Obviously, maybe he was sending out signals and people were not picking them up. And I think that's the sad part of it. He loved life. This is the tragedy here. He was at his sweet spot in his life. He had everything falling into place. And then this, it does not make sense.
Do you think sometimes he felt like an imposter? He talked about how he came into success in his 40s with Kitchen Confidential and how he was always looking in the rearview mirror for the cops to come after him. Like an imposter kind of, feeling like he didn't belong.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I do recall, I think he put up these fronts to protect himself. So he would be the first to bring noise to himself in order to deflect. And he had that very profound personality. He had multi-facets to himself. There was 1,000 layers to Anthony Bourdain. And in one of those layers, there was a glitch. And we never saw that glitch coming.
What do you think his legacy will be?
His legacy will be that we understand and appreciate food for what it is, which is the great equalizer in our lives. We eat to give comfort, and he comforted millions of people. Perhaps he himself was starving.
Aw. The Parts Unknown future of that beloved show, presumably, is up in the air. What do you think might happen? Could Eric take over?
I don't think so.
No?
No. I think perhaps that it could be something new, but Eric was so loyal to Anthony Bourdain. You could just see the way they played off each other. So I think everyone is in mourning. There's a huge loss, not just the shows, but he was an amazing writer. He was very, very deep.
And of all your interviews, do you have one favorite memory just to wrap this up in terms of what you'll remember the most about him?
Well, I interviewed him about 18 months ago in New York City, and I brought up that he had interviewed Iggy Pop. I love that episode. In fact, I would play it over and over again, and I get emotional because there was so much there. And he looked at me when I brought it up, and he broke into this beautiful smile, and he says, "Did you see how much I was trembling interviewing him?" And I said, "No, but I did see this beautiful passion between the two of you and how you looked into the sea and how you were grounded and so happy." And he smiled at me.
Well, we want to know what you think about this shocking news today, and let us know via Facebook and Twitter. We'd like to hear what you think.